Yeah, we are gathered here today. Now we're here to give this to Sheriff Grady Judd. Here we go.
We're in the conference room.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed during this program do not necessarily represent those of the Flo Bro Show. The claims made by
Just stop being so sensitive.
Thank you for tuning into the Flo Bro Show, presented by Florigins.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
It's good to see y'all.
I made you something here.
Did you really?
I made Florida flags.
Right?
She actually has one of them.
Really?
Yeah, for the house. And so I made you this, and I made it actually with Polk County colors.
Wow.
I did the green and gold. These are two different color greens here. I wanted to give that to you.
Well, thank you. That's beautiful.
You hang it up at your house, hang it in your office.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, solid
Isn't it?
cedar wood. That's two-part epoxy on the seal there.
Is it really?
Yes, sir. And so I made that one specifically for you. I don't plan on making any more of those.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt like it was kind of special specifically for Florida Sheriff. But I do have a blue line one that I wanted to give to you also to see if you wanted to donate it to one of your, your charity.
All right.
Or your June for Joe, your blasting clays thing that you do. You can auction it off.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That one's called Line of Duty.
Line of duty.
Yes, sir.
So this is what y'all do, huh?
Yes, sir. I make flags, and these guys help me out. We also do a podcast also on the side, but primarily we do the flags.
How long does it take to build a flag?
One of those for about 6 to 8 hours.
Really?
Yes, sir. It takes a little while. All done by hand. Everything's sanded and painted and all that. So these are made out of cedar. And cedar's getting a little harder to come by with the price of lumber. But hey, look, when I came up with the concept of doing the Florida flag, other than just the traditional red and white we're known for, I started coming up with all these different concepts and ideas, and I wanted to do something that represented Florida, where I didn't alter the seal, but kind of paid homage to a lot of different themes that people are known throughout Florida. Like I make some beachy ones. I make ones where I do pyrography with a torch, where I burn the pine prior to staining it, painting it, and then we do a red line for firefighters. We do a gold line for dispatchers. Mm-hmm. I did a blue line, and I'm like, I really want to do a Polk County Sheriff's flag for Grady. Awesome. So I was like, I really got to do that. So I came up with that, and luckily we was able to get in here and give it to you, and I appreciate it.
This is beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And did you used to work for us?
I am a former member. I'm old 4745.
Really?
Yeah.
That goes back a ways.
Yeah, in 99.
Right.
Yeah, I told her we were probably in the same
Yeah.
orientation because I'm
think so.
4737. So
Yeah.
she's 8-member numbers more than mine.
Yeah, I started in 99. I was 20 years old, fresh out of high school, and learned a lot real quick. And I went to Lakeland PD in 2001.
Okay. And how long were you with them?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, I was just asking her when I go see my old friend Angela and the EOC after we're done here. Angela Simonides.
Angela is a supervisor for us, and our folks are all tremendous. Yeah. But Angela is extra special because if I hear anything or I call down there, we have a hotline that goes to the desk sergeant, and 99 times out of 100, she doesn't even have to put me on hold to check to see what's happening. Yeah. She is just like on it. Yeah. And it's a fast-moving system in there. It really is.
Yeah. I've been out of it since 2008, just kind of working in the public sector, and now I help run our business. But
and you all live in Bradenton?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ramsey County. She's originally from Polk County.
From Fort Meade.
Fort Meade. God's country.
Yeah. That's absolutely right.
And all three of us are born and raised in Manatee County.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I'm passionate about our home
We're all
state.
Floridians.
Yeah.
We love Florida.
Absolutely.
Sure do.
Florida's a special place.
It sure is.
And if we don't protect it, and if we don't keep this philosophy, then we'll end up like in New York or California, which is crazy and out of control.
We don't want that.
No.
I noticed on social media your Amendment 3, which I thought was great. Have you thought about Amendment 2, the one where it's to recognize the right to hunt and fish?
Yes.
Is that something that you've talked about?
I'm supporting that.
You are?
Yes. I've not put anything out.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
But those that ask me, absolutely. And it's a shame that we've got to inculcate that in the Constitution to keep that guarantee.
Yeah.
But we've seen some states around the country that tried to take that away. And this is just a preemptive strike to make sure that hunting and fishing is accepted or understood to be a right, a basic right.
You would think in the state of Florida, being fishing capital of the world, it would have already been done years ago.
Well, you would think it's not necessary. I mean,
Yeah.
I always just accepted the fact that, you can always hunt and fish. Yeah. But some of these states have tried to restrict the way you hunt. I understand you have to have game management or fish management. But so I'm all for that because you can get someone out there to get overzealous and wipe out a species. But so I believe in that. But to think that you've got to have a constitutional right on the books is sad.
Yeah.
But
it's like the most primitive way to survive, it seems like, and you got to protect the original way that people forged for their survival. So
well, and we have, as a nation, as time has gone on, we have seen the crazies do some real crazy stuff. And why I see this as such a basic right, that it's kind of like, well, we don't have to have in the Constitution, we have a right to breathe air, but anyway, I'm for it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about that because I did like your video that you made about Amendment 3, because I think that really explained the shadiness. I shared it on my Facebook post. So this is exactly what everybody needs to know and needs to hear about it. I thought that was fantastic.
The thing that the people that are for, and I tell folks, I work for the community. How you vote is your business. I'm not telling you how to vote, but I want you to know what it really says, because you get a little paragraph on your ballot, and the constitutional amendment is fine print about this big. And it's important to understand that those that wrote the amendment or hired the lawyers to write the amendment for them, and those that spent millions of dollars to collect the signatures to get it on the ballot, they specifically put in the amendment that you can buy their marijuana, but you can't grow a plant in the backyard.
Yeah.
So if we're truly going to have recreational use of marijuana, why can't you grow your own?
Well, in a lot of other states, that is the way that it is.
Right.
You go to Vermont, Michigan, California, Colorado, other states, and that is the way that it is.
This is nothing but a money grab.
That's exactly what it is.
And they're taking advantage of people. So, and what they don't tell you is that I can buy your legal marijuana from Mr. Marijuana Guy who got this passed. I can buy it legally and possess it. But if I take it home and sell it to you, then I can still be charged for delivery of drugs.
If it does pass, is there a way for the sheriff in the moment to conduct a field sobriety test in that moment? Is that a concern?
It's not a field sobriety test. It's a scientific test to measure your intoxication level.
At that moment.
At that moment.
Gotcha.
Like there's the breathalyzer.
Yeah.
Where we can give you a breathalyzer test and tell where your blood alcohol is. Not so with marijuana, because marijuana stays in your system for up to 28 days. Now it doesn't intoxicate you for 28 days, but it's in your system. So we've not found an appreciable, legal, measurable test that says you're under the influence.
Yeah.
And it has to do with a lot of science, your body size. So what you end up having to do is have more drug recognition experts, DRE, that can testify to your inability to operate a motor vehicle. Another thing that, if this passes, that happens, is every canine in the state of Florida, law enforcement canine, has been taught to
I
smell
didn't even think about that.
marijuana as a part of the drug spectrum.
Man.
All has to be retired.
Oh man,
I didn't think about that
Yeah.
either.
To
Wow.
the tunes of millions
Oh,
and
my
millions
goodness.
and millions of dollars.
Wow.
California said for every dollar, no, I'm sorry, Colorado issued a report that said for every dollar they take in taxes, they spend over $4 in additional services. So it's a dead dog loser.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that aggravates me worse is they're trying to trick the voter.
Yeah.
They keep saying more money for law enforcement, more money for education. There's not one word in that amendment that mandates that law enforcement or education get money. Not one word.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they're just lying to people. And so when there's few companies can grow the marijuana and you can't, oh, by the way, they wrote in there they can't be sued. They're immune. Isn't that a nice
Covering
world?
their butt. Yeah.
Now, if you can be sued for driving a car, you can be sued for driving intoxicated from that marijuana, but they can't be sued for their part of that. So it's like, wait a minute, you got all the money, you get all the advantages, you can't be sued, but the user can.
Yeah.
It
shady.
just is shady. That's
Yeah.
it. It's
Very
just
shady.
it's just a trick. So what I would do if even if I were for it, I would tell the people, go back to the drawing board and get it done the right way.
Exactly.
But that's not what happened.
That's where it's corporate greed
Yeah.
and shadiness.
Yep.
You have several events throughout the year that you have auctions that you do,
Yes.
right? So I'm going to give these to you. You do what you want with them. If you want to hang this and keep that.
I want to keep this one.
Yeah. Now, if you down the road, when you guys have more of those events and you need, I'll donate a few more of these if you wanted one of these or one of these, or even the red and white one like she has. I'll be game for donating several for your charities to raise money, and they work really good in live and silent auctions. So
That's fantastic. Tell me this: how did we end up with a green corner here? There's got to be some.
So I tried to incorporate obviously as much as the green. The gold was a little silvery gold, and I wanted to get some white in there. I got more of the solid gold right here. This is like a silver
I
gold.
think it looks good.
So these are actually two different color greens, and I did it that way. I wanted to have the green instead of the blue. Over here I got the gray instead of the blue. You know, if I did stars, it would take away from the.
Sure.
You know, this is just a background look.
So you just.
I simply just did this a different shade gray than I wanted to do the cross.
It is a nod to the American flag.
Yeah,
kind of
so it's
behind
essentially
Florida.
like it's an American flag background, but with the colors altered, just like as this would be. You know, you see guys riding around with the blue line stickers. They're usually black, gray, and you know.
Sure.
So I tried to just mimic that, but without copying it. And I wanted to do the same thing here, but without having a line through it. I wanted to kind of incorporate the kind of pair of colors on there.
Fantastic. Do you miss your dispatching days?
Sometimes. I don't miss the 12-hour night shifts. I can't say
That's
that.
long, yeah.
It's a long time. And like Carrie said, Angela was here for 36 hours. There's, you know, it's a lot.
Yeah,
and it does take a toll on you mentally and physically. So sometimes I miss it, and sometimes I'm glad to be.
You're glad to be out of it.
I was working at LPD the day that Matt Williams
Was shot.
happened.
That was a bad day.
Yeah, I was working the North Side radio that day. And
It was pretty crazy, wasn't it? Well,
Yeah, I was friends with him.
that ended the way it should have.
Absolutely.
We appreciate the fact that he pointed that gun at our SWAT team because that guaranteed that was going to be the end of it right there. He had the option to come out and hold his hands up, but instead he pointed Matt Williams' gun after he stole it. He stole it from him after he shot him and killed him.
And Diogi.
Do you know the backside of that story that you may not know is we worked with DEA and they tracked this guy down. He was a hired assassin, and they would send him into South America to collect drug debts or either to kill people. And so this guy wasn't just somebody that ran from a traffic stop with a gun. This guy was a hired assassin, and they tied him into several murders, drug-related murders in South America. So
Wow.
he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he got what was coming, but
Yeah.
it's hard to lose a friend.
Well, it is very difficult.
I was friends with Chad Anderson for years, and so glad that he's okay.
He had to have another surgery.
Yeah, I saw his hand.
So this interesting. He got shot up pretty good, and so his lungs and all of that. The bullet lodged between his heart and his spinal column.
Oh, wow.
So that's a God thing that it was there. Instead, moving one way or the other would have been traumatic injury or death. But this nerve, the shock from the bullet going in, shocked this nerve, and it wouldn't recover. So his fingers, they've gone in and they've redone this nerve, and they said he's responding real well.
Yeah, we're Facebook friends, so I get to see all those updates and things.
So that was remarkable and fortunate that they lived through that. But it's a dangerous world out here.
Sure is.
Right, and when I'm giving speeches, I tell everybody this is not a dangerous job until it is, and when it is, it's dangerous like that.
Yeah,
And that's how quick it goes off the rails on you.
sure does.
So anyway, they did a remarkable job that night staying alive.
Yeah.
And once again, when you start shooting at deputies, then it ended the way it should have.
What's coming?
You know, he got lead poisoning that night. So, but he asked for it.
Yes, he
You know,
did.
you start shooting at my deputies, you're going to get
I
shot.
can tell you a lot of most Floridians love you as an individual because of that mentality, and there's a lot of good sheriffs out there who, like the sheriff, like you. You've kind of set a standard in Florida, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
We feel safer with sheriffs like you and your deputies around.
Well,
A lot of people want to see you governor.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that.
You know,
but-
people have asked me about, are you going to run for governor, or are you
Man,
going
you'd
to
be
run for Congress?
instantly in, man.
And I appreciate that, but I just love being the sheriff. And I tell folks that how this all started back when I first got elected sheriff. Of course, I'd been in the sheriff's office for a long time before I ran for sheriff. But sheriffs and police chiefs just wouldn't get in front of the media because they were not sure, they're not comfortable. And so when I got elected, I called my staff together and I said, look, this dodging and hiding and taking things, the people throw the BS flag on all of that. So what we're going to do is just tell it all, brothers and sisters, tell it all. And we'll tell the folks, look, we're telling you what we know right now. It's subject to change. So I started that wave a long time ago when sheriffs and chiefs wouldn't do it. Well, now you fast forward today, most of your sheriffs and some of your chiefs do that now. So I'm if there's any credit, the credit, goes to the people of Polk County who supported and expected that from me. So, but it works. I mean, we all watch television, and when you get somebody at home, when you're sitting there watching and you get, oh, it's under investigation and we don't know, they start this tap dancing.
Right.
We're all going, who are you BSing here? Just tell us what happened. Well, I took that philosophy a long time ago and said, well, when I get to be sheriff, I'm just going to stand up and say it.
Yeah.
And tell the folks. I mean, I work for them. They got a right to know.
Yes, sir.
And they expect to know.
And we very much appreciate that stance too. I think that's what made you the kind of the social media sensation and the news. I mean, people all over the country know your name and have seen your videos and all that because you're so open and honest and transparent. I think that's something that we all really appreciate, and that's why we were all looking forward to coming up here and meeting you.
Well, I'm excited to meet y'all, and I can tell you one of the greatest compliments I received. I had a fella tell me one day. He said, Grady, I don't agree with everything you say, but I certainly agree with the fact you'll stand up and say it, and you'll take a position. And I said, well, I appreciate you saying that, but let me let you in on a little secret. He said, what's that? I said, I don't agree with everything I say either. I said, what I say is in the best interest of the community. The decision I make is in the best interest of the community. If I was sane and making the decision based on my best interest, I do it differently.
Yeah.
But my job's to look out for the whole community. So the things that I reflect is what I believe the vast majority of the people of the community want. So that's why we do it that way. And so far it's worked.
Yeah. And I know you're widely respected across the state of Florida.
Oh, it's an
and,
honor.
you know,
It's just an
we're down
honor
in
to
Manatee
be-
County, and I see you all the time
Yeah,
on the news, and I
yeah.
just love hearing you
Really?
talk, and a lot of respect for you.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be the sheriff. It really is.
Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity to present
Thank
you
you.
with these appreciation gifts and what we can do to help support
Now,
what you're doing.
now
for
you're
not only
going
Polk County, but state
you're
of
going to see
Florida.
the coffee on my morning briefing.
That'd be
before
great.
long.
Fabulous.
Florigens,
Yeah, or some people pronounce it Florida Origins
Florida Origins,
because but you call it Florida.
That's what it means.
Yeah, Florida Origins.
Florida
So
Origins.
you're originally
Florida
from Florida.
Origins.
But the business is called Florigins. We combine the two words to make the business name.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you say Florigins or Florida Origins, it's they're both the same.
Or I'll probably say both.
There you go.
Either way, I'll cover it.
There you go.
4 years is the #1 fastest growing county.
Yep.
We've added over 100,000 new people here to this county. So when I go do these speeches in these retirement communities, I ask, how many of y'all have moved here in the last 4 years? And it's shocking how many people, I mean, if I've got 100 people there, 20 of them have moved here in the last 4 years.
Right.
That's how much population's moving in. Now the good news is, the folks that are moving here are pretty solid, but I tell them straight up, look, you want low crime, lower taxes than where you came from, and warm weather in the winter. And they said yes. And I said, well, here's the deal. Then you can't vote the way the majority of the people voted where you came from.
Exactly.
You'll still have warm weather in the winter, but you won't have low taxes or low crime.
Right.
Because they always, people think, and I understand if you don't understand the system, that the cops are responsible for crime or the lack of crime. No, it's the rule makers. We only enforce the rules. So if you create the rules that encourages criminals, then you have more crime.
Yeah.
If you create the rules that discourages criminals, you have less crime.
Yeah.
But I always hearken back Chicago, which by the way doesn't have the highest per capita murder rate. It's last I looked, it was New Orleans, but Chicago gets picked on. And when they've had a particularly bad Memorial Day weekend or July 4th, the mayor will come out and say, I'm going to order them to hire 100 new cops and work. Never once have I heard him say, I'm going to order them to build 5,000 new beds for criminals. That's how you lower your crime rate, is when you lock up criminals. And they go, well, you can't arrest your way out of it. You don't have to. You arrest the prolific offenders and scare the stew out of the rest of them.
Yeah.
Because once the accountability's there, and once they understand, if you do this, you will go to prison, they quit doing it.
Yeah. And that's why criminals think twice before coming to Polk County.
That's why they do. Do you know in this horrible hurricane we just came through, not one report of looting.
Wow.
Not one.
That's
And
impressive.
you made that pretty apparent that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
No, we'll wear them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're out, and I tell the folks, I told them, I said, just tie them up to a fence or something if they come there. But if those looters come into their house or what's left of it, they can be shot.
Yep.
Now, I highly recommend that they don't go in there because these good old Polk County boys will shoot you if you come into their house trying to loot.
My favorite quote you ever said was, "Well, they will blow you back out of the houses." I remember hearing you say that on the news one time, and that was one of my favorite things.
You have a lot of good one-liners over the years that a lot of Floridians remember, and that is awesome. I
Well, it's
I love
just-
it.
That was about the riots.
Yeah.
People were
Yeah.
rioting in Tampa. They said they were going to come here.
Yeah.
They didn't come here.
No,
They tried a little bit in Lakeland, but we were there.
Yeah.
And
I specifically,
It
that one
lasted
stands out
about
the most,
5
I think, out of all of them. People in
Facebook
Polk
took
County
that
have
video
guns,
down,
and
by
if
the
you
way.
come into the houses with
They
the
said he
intention of
was
looting,
inciting violence.
they will blow you back out of the houses. And I think
And
that one just burned itself in my head.
And I wanted them to.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like you don't have a right to break into my home where my wife and children are. You don't have the. And if you come in my house, we're going to kill you. we're going to shoot you all full of holes.
And I think you said it made your job easier.
It does.
Yeah.
I like that part.
It's only one more line on the report.
Yeah.
You know? So the bottom line is, you know, you have a right to protect yourself and your family from violent people.
Yeah.
And it's made the community safer.
It sure has.
We
You've
should
set a
appreciate
standard for the rest of the county sheriffs throughout the state of Florida. Just your personality and how you are as an individual. You're being blunt. You're being frank. You're telling it how it is. And literally, I feel like safe. I feel like Florida's safer now than it was when I was a kid.
Oh, it is.
And that's what the people of Florida expect.
Yeah, exactly.
The
You
cr-
set a standard.
The crime in unincorporated Polk County in our service city areas is at a 50-year low. And as safe as Florida is, our crime rate is 45% less than the state average.
Wow.
So that's how effective our crime suppression model is. And after all, think about this. Don't you deserve it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You work hard, you've got a home, you got an apartment, you got your car, you have worked hard for whatever it is you have. Somebody doesn't have a right to come take that from you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when Polk County took over Fort Meade. You know, when I grew up in Fort Meade, it was the Fort Meade Police Department, and I remember seeing that crime decreased after Polk County came into Fort Meade. Is that right?
Sure, it did. You have to. There is a science to reducing crime, and it all. You have to look at the data. You have to follow the crime trends and the hot spots. You have to market to the people that you arrest.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't want to come back to jail, don't do this again, because not only are we going to arrest you, we're looking for you now. We know that you're the one stealing from the neighborhood, and we're looking for you now. That's how we stop it.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things too is you've kind of, like you said, you set the standard with the media stuff and all that. And over the years, I was born and raised in Bradenton and seen you on the news for a very long time. And over time, you start watching other sheriffs in different towns kind of, I don't know if you want to call it mimic or follow the lead or whatever you want to call it. But I've noticed a lot more of the media coverage with the sheriffs, like you were talking about, addressing the community. And some of them are starting to do some of the scare tactics. They're kind of like the saying it like it is tactics and all that. And you can kind of see the effect it's had too. Like it's like more and more counties around town, the state of Florida are starting to like kind of follow that lead, and it's good to see it.
Well,
people are starting to respect the police a lot more, and it's not like it used to be where people were just kind of running rampant and doing a bunch of wild stuff. And
I've actually coached and taught this in leadership seminars, and the thing that wins people's hearts and souls is when I tell the sheriffs and the chiefs, look, do you think I would do this if it didn't work? I work for the people. They want to know what's happening, and they want to know that you're going to hold criminals accountable. They want to know that they're safe. Well, when I first got elected, I had already done a career at the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
So if the people didn't like this and they tossed me out, it was like I would just go on to another life, another chapter.
what are you, like 52 years now?
You're 52, and I was 52 when I got elected.
Oh, wow.
So I was 50. Anyway, I was old. but so when it worked, and I would tell my colleagues, this works. I mean, I'm not asking you to do something that's going to get you in trouble with your community. The community is starving for honest, ethical, moral leadership.
Yeah.
And that's what we represent.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of my colleagues that stand up and tell it the way it is, because people want honest, ethical, moral leadership. And that's what we represent.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
I remember back when I started at the sheriff's office, in the late 90s, community-oriented policing was kind of a novelty. It wasn't the standard, right? And you've made it the standard.
It's the standard now.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was difficult when we called it PROCAP, Proactive Community Attack on Problems. And the cops resisted it because it was extra work.
Yeah.
And they were held accountable for the supervisors were in their area. Why is your crime up? What are you doing? In the beginning, it was a tough go the first few years.
That was the 1017, right?
Yeah. But now you see all of the cops that have come up in the system don't know any different.
Yeah.
This is the standard. This is the way we do it. And think about it. I tell folks, how would we want to be treated? How would we want to be talked to? Do we want to live in a safe community? Do we want our kids to be able to play in the neighborhood without fear? And the answer to that is yes. Well, so does everybody else.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. Well, Sheriff Judd, we appreciate
God
your
bless
time.
you.
Thank you very much.
Take care, brother.
Sir.
We appreciate
Thank you.
Sheriff.
Thank you very much for your time.
This episode of the Flo Bro Show is brought to you by Florigins, Florida's most authentic lifestyle brand. Celebrate the rich culture and vibrant spirit of Florida with Florigins' high-quality apparel, handcrafted art, and unique accessories. Visit florigins.com and use code FLOBRO, FLOBRO, for an exclusive discount. You can find the links to the Florigins gear we are wearing and the art on the studio wall in the description box below.
And if you come in my house, we're going to shoot you all full of holes.